Now, what do we have on the board? Greatest common divisor. We are very close to ending this basic or the foundation of mathematics. So, this our third last lesson, greatest common divisor. Among the videos we talked about, the greatest common divisor, we are applying everything from multiplication to division to divisibility test to prime numbers to even numbers to odd numbers to everything. We are summing whatever we have been learning in this series in finishing the greatest common divisor. And now you can know, after looking at the greatest common, remember we started with prime factorization. Now we are looking at the greatest common divisor. And I know, after greatest common divisor, can you suggest which lesson is next? Wow, correct. So, greatest common divisor. What do you understand by the term greatest common divisor? What does it mean? Let us dissolve these words. Greatest, meaning that biggest. You can call it the largest. You can call it the highest. Something greater. Then common, meaning that it is all for all the numbers you have. Common. It is all the numbers. It is for all the numbers. Then it is a divisor. A divisor, what do we call a divisor? What is another name for divisor? A factor. Divisor, a factor. A number that divides another number. So divisor. So what do you expect? Greatest common divisor is that the biggest number or the biggest factor. The biggest factor that divide all the numbers that you have been given. So the word biggest does not mean that it is greater than those numbers. Even it is smallest, it is smaller than the smallest number that you have among the numbers. So what can we say? We can say that this is the biggest factor that divides all the given numbers. This is the biggest factor that divides all the given numbers. A number that divides another number, it must be smaller than that number. So it is the biggest of all the factors, but it is smaller than all the numbers. That is what you need to understand. So greatest common divisor. So it is also called, how can we call it? Highest, also called highest common, we can also call it highest common factor, abbreviated as HCF, or greatest common factor, or we can also call it greatest common factor, abbreviated as GCF. So those are the three names. We can call it greatest common divisor, GCD, or the highest common factor, HCF, or the greatest common factor, GCF. What is a factor? A factor is a number that divides another number. Greatest common factor, it is a factor, the biggest among the factors that you have for those numbers. It is the biggest factor that divides all. So that's the meaning of greatest common factor. So just know that this factor is less than all the numbers that you have, but it is the biggest of all the factors that you have. And these factors must be common. Common meaning that they are the factors of all the numbers that you have. Good. Consider an example here. Find the GCD of A 16, 24 and 40. Find the GCD of 16, 24 and 40. Now, we don't need to hesitate, or once you've been given this question, find the GCD, greatest common divisor of these two numbers. There's no need of taking your bag and going home. You say, now math is not for me. No, you don't need to say that. What do you need to do? You just need to apply bracket, greatest common. Common meaning that all the other numbers, it is among all the other numbers. Then divisor, meaning that it divides all the numbers. So solution, that is now A, we can write our B, then we work it together. 24 and 36. 24 and 36. I want us to learn two methods. There's one I'm keeping for the next lesson. But now I want us to learn two methods. Then you choose which method is the best for you. Are we together there? After learning the two, you choose the method that is best for you. So find the GCD of 16, 24 and 40. Then GCD of 24 and 36. Now, solution. The first one, A, I have 16, 24 and 40. So, 16, 24 and 40. The first method I want us to learn is what called listing method, where we list all the factors of 16. Remember, I told you how to list the factors in our previous lesson. So just go back and check if you might have forgotten. But right now, I'm just going to list. The first factor of 16 is 1. The next factor is 2. The next factor is 4. The next factor is 8. The next factor is 16. So these are all the factors of 16. This is listing method. Then 24, 1. Then 2. We have 3. We have 4. Next one, 6. The next one, 8. The next one, 12. And the next one, 24. I said once you reach the middle of the number, the next one will be the number itself. Then come to 40. The first one is 1. The second one, 2. 3 cannot divide this one, 4. Then 5. 6 cannot divide this one, 7 cannot divide it, 8. After 8, we have 9, no? 10. After 10, we have 20. After 20, now we have 40. So we see, we said a number is a factor of itself. So that's why we have 16, 24, and 40. So we have listed their factors. Remember, we were dealing with divisors or factors. That is step 1. List all the factors. The next step, after listing all the factors, where do we head to? We have listed, remember, I've said greatest common divisor or highest common factors. We start with the divisors or factors. You list all the factors. Then we are solving it from the end. We start with the end, which is now the factors. We move to the middle, which is now the common. So from here, I list what we call now the common factors. Common factors of 16, 24, 40. So what are the common factors? The factors that are in 16, 24, and 40. Can we list all of them? Okay, yes. The first one is 1. 1 is here, 1 is here, 1 is here. So 1, then the next one, 2. 2 is here, 2 is here, 2 is here. So we move to 2. Next one, we have 3. 3 is not here, but 4 is here, here, here. So 4 here, 4 here, 4 here. So we have 4. Next one, which one do we list? 6. 6 is not here. 5 is not here. So we have 8, 8, 8. So 8. Do you have another one? Here from here we have 16. 16 is not here, 16 is not here. So these are now the common factors of 16, 24, and 40. There are factors that are found in 16. The same factors are found in 24. The same factors are found in 40. Common factors. After dealing with common factors, remember we have listed all the factors. We have looked at the common factors. The next thing is now the greatest common factor. Now, the greatest of all of them. So, greatest common divisor of all these factors is 8. So, you see, GCD of 16, 24, and 40 is 8. That was the meaning of greatest. It was not the number bigger than 16, 24, and 40. No. It was a factor. Already you know what a factor is. Then this factor is the biggest factors of all the factors. So that is what is meant by greatest common divisor or greatest common factor. You can ask yourself, with this listing method, what if you have been given 500, 300, and 1,000? Are you going to list all the factors? The answer is no. It will take us centuries to finish that. So centuries cannot take us, but you know whatever I mean. It will take us long time to understand that. So that one will take us to the next method, of which now we are not going back to listing again, but you can do it for your own benefit. The next method is the table method. Alternatively, we have the table method. Now, for the table method, we write all these numbers. We have GCD of 16, 24, and 40. Write all of them in your table. So we have 16, then 24, then 40. So since we're dealing with a factor that is common, we need to ensure that we list all these factors starting with the smallest factor. So we are going to use the prime numbers, So here we say we take the smallest prime number that can divide all the numbers. What have I said? Prime number that can divide all the numbers. Prime number that can divide all the numbers. Now, the smallest prime number is 2. Can 2 divide 16? Yes. Can 2 divide 24? Yes. Can 2 divide 40? Yes. So we start with that. Remember, this one, 2 must divide all. So if 2 divides 16, 24 and not this number, you don't use 2. You move to the next prime number. So the prime number that you choose must divide all the numbers you have been given. 2 divide 18 how many times? 16 how many times? This now 8 times. 2 divide 24 how many times? This now 12 times. 2 divide 40 how many times? This now 20 times. I'm done with 2. Can 2 divide these all numbers? 8, 12, and 20? Yes. 2. 2 divide 8 how many times? 4 times. 2 divide 12 how many times? 6 times. 2 divide 20 how many times? 10 times. So 2 divides all the numbers. 2 Can 2 divide 4? Can 2 divide 6? And can 2 divide 10? Yes. 2 can divide all the numbers. So 2. So you are going to use that number until you reach a point where that number that you are using, the prime factor, cannot divide all those numbers, but can divide 1. You leave it. You go to that prime number that will divide all. So the prime factorization that we looked at in the last lesson, the previous one, is helping us here. It is applicable. And remember, those of you in junior secondary school or senior secondary school, or in even 844 system, Form 3, Form 4, already you know how GCD. We are using the prime factorization. So 2 divide this one, 2 times 2 divide 6, 3, 2 divide 10, 5. Calculator cannot give you the GCD. That's why we were starting with long division, multiplication table, so that we can have them. We grow our mind. So here, 2 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number, 5 is a prime number. So there's no any other number that can divide all these 3 numbers apart from 1. So we end our division there. So what will you say? GCD is now the product of this. 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So our GCD is 8, which is the same as this. So avoid listing method. Use it when it is necessary. If you're told to use the listing method, but use the prime factorization method to help you solve this. Use prime factors only. So we are done with this one. Let us look at B. B, what we have? We have 24 and 36. So some people are waiting for me to let you do this. No. Today we are doing it together. Now, here we have 24, 36. I am choosing prime factorization method. Reason, I'm tired of listing these things. So prime factorization, I use prime numbers only. So what is the smallest prime number that divides 24 and 36? What is the smallest prime number that divides 24 and 36? 2. 2 divide 24, 12. 2 divide 36, 18. The next prime number that can divide all of them, that is 2. 2 divide 12 how many times? 6. 2 divide 18 how many times? 9. Now here we are stuck. 2 cannot divide 9, but 2 divide 6. What do? We continue, but now we don't use 2 because the prime factor that we want must divide all the numbers we have been given. But now 2 divide 24 and 36, 2 divided 12 and 18. Now 2 cannot divide, 2 divide 6, but cannot divide 9. We move to the next prime number. The smallest one after 2 is 3. Can 3 divide this one and this one? Yes. So you use 3 here. 3 divide 6, 2 times. 3 divide 9, 3. So you see, we have prime number, prime number. So there is no any other number that can divide 2 and 3 apart from 1. We stop here. So we say that our GCD is 2 times 2 times 3, which is 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3, 12. So the GCD, the greatest common divisor of 24 and 36 is 12. Now, since you can be wondering, now what is there for you to do? Do for me this one. Find the GCD, find the GCD of 8 and 12. Don't use listing method, or you can use 2 of them and find the GCD of 8 and 12. At least